I have some friends asking recently, Louis, how do you sustain your cloud engineering career and how did you achieve this level of success and how you have the market like reaching out to you like 2 or 3 times per week to offer you very attractive positions in top tier companies. And today I would like to share with you some of the strategies that I've deployed in my career and that I learned along the way. And I will share with you what really made the difference. Number one, mastering just the fundamentals. A lot of people, they get stuck with the all the technology that we have right now in cloud computing, all these shiny objects, new tools being launched. But I learned very early in this career when I was observing a CTO giving some instructions to all the leadership team. The CTO was telling that they would just like to have an infrastructure or cloud environment that first was secure, that was cost effective, and number three, that was simple. That's it. And I thought, oh, that's so interesting. So being simple, having something that is simple in the environment, it's important for these companies. Like it's not like sometimes what I'm listening when I'm under the trends, like with a lot of smart people, like, and I was kind of in that vibe, like, oh, I need to master all these new tools. Like, look, this year here, there are so many DevOps new technologies that I could learn and I could deploy. And I started connecting the dots because when I worked back in Brazil in a logistic company, and this was way earlier in my career, I was kind of in a help desk type of role, and I was trying to upskill myself. I did present to my manager a plan for me to do training. And what I did was I went into a Microsoft partner. At that time, it was really common. These Microsoft partners to do training workshops to prepare people for certifications. I got a really clear path like of the trainings that I could do, certifications that I could achieve, and I printed all that brochure and I did bring to my manager like, hey, look, I did some research, I could do these trainings to learn this technology and I can implement all this stuff. And I was really just listing stuff there, like a lot of different technologies, servers that we could configure, like security mechanisms that we could implement to communicate with brands. And he just looked at me and that's really good, Louis. But look, we are a logistic company. Like we are not a technology company. We just wanted to deploy the technology here on a way that things they will work. They are secured. They are not breaking. We can run our business. Like we don't need all this technology to be implemented. At that time, I didn't understand that so well because I was really at the beginning of my career in tech. But later, when I started observing like some senior executives in the IT industry, I really realized like it's all about working with the technology to create value to the company, to resolve a problem. And that was what really helped me to kind of shift all my perspective in the last few years, keep building this career here in Australia and having a tremendous success because it was something that I learned. Like otherwise, I could be grinding, learning many tools and trying to implement all those shiny objects like in the environment. And maybe some companies, they have interest in that. Larger organizations, they really want to get the job done, get that implemented, and let's make that work like following those principles that I shared initially. And that's already enough. Number two is I believe that you need to be a high capacity individual. In the past, I would be concerned with the word maybe productivity, like that would mean, oh, I need to work like countless hours, like I will not have family time. There are ways that you can structure your way that will really move the needle like in your career, like you are going to deliver like world-class cloud infrastructure or world-class cloud architecture, and you will be protecting your time. Like I don't believe that we need to live in a culture that think, oh, I'm working too much. Like sometimes it's because we didn't get so organized yet, and being assertive on what you are working, like getting the right things to do, sometimes is thinking a little bit high level on that. Like there are ways to organize your day in different systems, like or a different planner. but you can develop that clarity of your day. Third element that I believe was a game changer in my career was bold actions. And I realized this really early working in the financial industry because we are dealing with money, like in customer data. I saw in some organizations, they had a lot of different trainings and documentations telling on how you should handle that. And some people, they would sometimes get that too serious, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do anything here because it's a risk, it's a problem. But then when I was working on a superannuation company that they kind of position themselves as a startup, even though they are ASX public company list, like I believe they are one of the major superannuation companies now in Australia. They did invite all 80 people like to a meeting with the risk team, and they did show to us a slide like of someone kind of going to a Mount Everest, like doing all those crazy crossing different areas, like putting equipment, and they were telling us like, hey, we want you guys to create new technology, deploy new things, and we want you guys to take risks. However, it's a calculated risk. You're not just taking risk for the sake of risk. Like, you know the technology, you know how it works, and sometimes you need to play with that, like being mindful. Okay, there is a little risk on this that I'm doing right now. How I can prevent that? Or if we need to take this risk, can I communicate with my team here? Can I articulate like what are the risks and what are the measures that maybe we are taking to protect that? And once you master the fundamentals of the technology, that becomes much more easier, like because you can articulate with the team, you can show them like how you are planning to protect the company, to protect the data. That was something that really helped me along the way, because I've found sometimes engineers, they were great engineers, very talented, skilled, but when it was time to push a button, they were kind of, what if this doesn't work? Like, what if security doesn't like? What about governance? Okay, first thing, can maybe we communicate with them, like can maybe send an email like telling what's our plan and what's the risk, like did you communicate with them? Oh no, what if they tell that this is wrong? Like, so taking that action and sometimes just being bold, like pushing things ahead, like it's what makes the difference. Like I noticed like in some companies, like different leaders, they would kind of trying to get to me to do the work, because sometimes I was willing to raise like the flag, like, hey, there is a risk here, but we need to do either way, otherwise the project will get blocked, and the final solution for this will be that approach. And that was what really helped in my career. Like I noticed like different senior leaders, later they would approach me to do the work. I believe that if we can use our skills to maintain all the deployments, the environment in a secure manner, but not be so afraid of like, okay, there are so many risks here. Like you can really assess like what are the risks there. There are so many risks in life, and if we're not willing to take those risks in our career, to make those bold moves, I believe that can be hard to grow in the industry and also sustain that level of success, because once you are in more senior roles, like that level of demand will just increase like for you. And the fourth hint that I really believe that moved the needle in my career was aligned action. This was since the beginning of my career that I started learning that I can't and I shouldn't move like against like the direction of the company, on a sense of since the beginning when I was working in the logistics company, like, and I was presenting all those nice certifications that I would like to take, like all those technical skills, but they thought, hey, this is not what we really need here. Like we just need technology work. Okay, let's focus on just get this working then. So that's really taking aligned action. Later on, I realized when I came to Australia, for me, I was very impressed with that. Like I was invited to work on a government agency like consul type. And when I arrived there, I realized that they were replacing their systems engineers by cloud engineers, because the system engineer, unfortunately, they were not willing to adopt what the council or the government agency was trying to take as cloud first approach, like that would be moving everything to the cloud. So they were not aligning their actions, their skills, or the development of the skills with the company goals. And I saw that happening again and again in the industry. For us that are in tech and cloud engineering, it's so natural, this movement, like, oh, there is a new technology here that we need to implement. There is a new project that we need to implement, a new tool that now Microsoft launched and no one is aware of. So let's upskill on that and let's learn. That's really taking aligned action, like, and understanding like what are the company goals with the technology, where the project is going, and aligning all the movements that we do in our career with that in mind. And that will really sets you apart, like, because sometimes people, they say that they want to just be like a free bird, but I really believe that the free birds, like, they can align with the actions of the company, they can leverage that to grow their career, and that makes so much easier, like, for the company that is trying to make the change, for the manager that is implementing that in the team. There is less resistance, there is less friction for them to handle, and that can really makes you to stand out and succeed fast in your career. I usually share this career strategy and hints not only because we are developing right now cloud engineers that are taking on this role and evolving in this field, but I really believe that our industry sometimes they kind of think that technology is just this beautiful thing that you are cultivating and trying to work. And there are even books that I saw once from a famous author that who was telling like that we should write code that is so good and so well done that in 100 years people will look at that and think that was a masterpiece. And I kind of like that approach and the idea, but I believe if that is being done in detrimental of your family time, like when you're off your work, or you're just not taking aligned action with the company that is trying to implement a new project, a new initiative, I don't believe that's really something that will serve like you in your career. I wish that you embody that mentality and implement this in your career, because it will really make you to stand out and succeed faster. And if you enjoyed this video today, hit subscribe, share with a friend, leave me a comment down below, and share what would you like us to see here in our channel. Like, there are topics related to our cloud cohort that have been releasing recently, and new materials that have been publishing and that you can leverage as well in some of the links below. So leave me a comment and click like and share, and I will see you soon. Cheers.